Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking a bit of time this evening to join us so we could go over the um, uh, details for the Interscholastic Unified Tennis Championships that'll take place on Tuesday, November 5th. This is Mike Sarnowski. I'm the Vice President of Sports. We'll get into that stuff in just a moment. We do want to highlight a couple quick things here with our Cool Schools Plunge. We know that several of the schools in the who are involved with the Interscholastic Unified Sports Program participate in this. If your school is interested, the actual Cool Schools Plunge will be Thursday, January 23rd. And you can, if you're interested, you can contact Jesse Hayes, whose contact information is here at the bottom. And the slides will be sent out to you potentially this evening. It may be tomorrow morning. It's once the recording is done. We'll send those with a link. But these slides will be there, and I'm sure we'll be in contact with you later. These are some prize levels for individuals raising a certain amount of money there. And the Cool Schools Plunge does a great deal to support the Interscholastic Unified Sports Program. And so this can be really helpful along those lines. Also, and again, Jesse can give you any information that you may wish. If you have a group of at least 40 students, we'll even help defray the cost of transportation to come down. So again, with the limitations that are shown here. So, but again, that'll all be going out to you, and you can get additional information as we from Jesse as we go get closer to the event. So again, my name is Mike Sarnowski. I'm the Vice President of Sports for Maryland. Before we jump into stuff about the Unified Tennis competition, I did want to thank everybody for your patience during this season. I know some things have not gone quite as well as we would like them to. I'll take ownership on that. As many of you may know, we went through a bit of a not double transition, but a transition coupled with Melissa Kelly having a joyous occasion, but took her out on family leave for this entire season. And at the same time, Kara Moranek, who many of you know had been our Director of Interscholastic Unified Sports, was given a fantastic offer with the Carroll County Public Schools, and so left us in the summer. We are thrilled to have with us Angela Netto, just joined us 2 weeks ago, and is moving up the learning curve. And Melissa Kelly will be back with us. Had a baby boy, and mom and child and family are all doing great, and she'll be back with us right around Thanksgiving. So again, truly appreciate your patience as we've gone through things. We haven't been able to get things out sometimes as quickly as we would like, and again, I'll own that, and I apologize for any challenges that we've had along those lines. Tonight we want to go and really focus in on the tournament itself. This is not, the purpose of this is not to review all the different rules or anything along those lines. We want to give you the information that will help you prepare to attend the tournament, and to share that information if you're a district director and you're on, certainly to share that information there. Much of the information, if you've been to this event in the past, at least the past 2 years, much of the information is exactly the same, just the dates and some minor tweaks. So I don't think there's any super major changes by any means here. And then we'll also have the opportunity for questions at the end. I will say, if anybody is joining us strictly by phone, unfortunately, we are not able to open up the lines for you to ask questions. If you're only on the phone, we can only do that for folks who joined from the webinar. But we will be sending out the slides. We will have the event guide for the tournament posted on the Google Docs page, and we'll also send that out along with the slides and the recording of tonight's webinar. So, and that'll go to all the coaches of the teams that are, and as well as all the district representatives for the teams that are advancing and coming to the tournament on November 5th. So we'll go through all these, and we'll have some stuff on the competition, but again, the purpose there is not to completely review all the different rules and such. So thrilled to have a brand new tennis chair, Katie Gleason, who you all have worked with, and I'm sure either corresponded by email or communicated by phone as our tennis chair. Katie joined us in August in this capacity and comes with years of tennis experience, as well as having served as the chair for track and field for Unified Sports in the spring. So thrilled to have her. Mark Sunkel is with us again as the assistant chair, working a lot on the competitions and divisionings and so on down the line. And both Katie and Mark are on the line tonight as well. And then, as I had mentioned, Angela Netto joined us as the new director of Interscholastic Unified Sports. Comes to us with a good deal of coaching background and experience within the Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and we're thrilled to have her joining with us. So kind of going through some different points here. For medical, medical will be available with both. They'll be around. You can access them if you have a need for that in case of first aid, either by contacting them directly, or anybody at the event who has a walkie-talkie will be able to reach them as well. That in mind, we do not, as many of you know, have the actual medical forms for your athletes. You must bring with them those school system risk management precautions, whatever your standard system is, and the emergency card for your students. Be sure you have them in hard copy with you at the event. So if there is any kind of a significant medical situation that needs to be addressed in advance, or if there is any accommodation that's necessary, or private changing room or feeding area, etc., please email us here. And again, you'll get the slide deck that'll either go out tonight or tomorrow morning. So please do let us know. I have not heard of any accommodations to date, but we certainly want to do what we can to meet the needs of all the student athletes who are with us. We will now go into the event guide, which again will be posted. Let's see. And on the Google Drive, but also will be sent out to you. And we'll go through a couple things here. I am not going to read this to you, but just a note here that this is the 11th year for IUS. We're thrilled to have that. So the date of the event is November 5th. Again, the rain date does not look like that's going to be an issue at the moment, at least, but the rain date is the next day. This is the basic schedule. Your schools should be arriving between 9 and 10:30. There'll be warm-up opportunity from 9:30 to 10:45. We'll touch on how you can access that in a moment. We'll have a coaches meeting at 10:30, opening ceremony at 11, and then competition will begin right after that. We are saying award ceremonies will start at 4:30. It is highly likely it will start earlier than that. With the schedule the way that it is, even with the addition of a couple additional teams, based on, and they were reallocated based on the number of teams that were each district had competing at their tournament. Even with that, we still should be done earlier. I don't want to hedge our bet too much, but we have a good shot at being done significantly earlier than that. I mentioned about the weather. So again, it's a week out, but here is what Tuesday looks like right now. Nothing before. This is at the Loyola Tennis Facility, but nothing before, nothing after. So it's highly likely we'll be able to have the event as planned. The one thing I do note is throughout this entire stretch here, you'll see this row here where my cursor is the low and the high for the day. It'll be a little chilly in the morning, and then get up. I don't think it doesn't break 60 during any of that time period. So again, it's a week out. Anything can happen. Anything can change. But I would have your students, your competitors prepared for that cooler weather, as is typical of the fall. Driving directions are here. Again, you all have that or will have that. For parking is not available right at the venue. It is available up the hill. So here, this gives you a picture of the general map. So Cold Spring Lane, things are right off of that. You'll make your left in here. This is the police station here. Please do not park or have any of your people park down here in the police station. Your vehicle will likely be towed. This is our venue. We'll see a slide in just a moment that has that, but there is no parking available in this space here where it's all taken up with tents and otherwise. Parking will be up this hill, and there's ample parking up here. This is also actually towards the back of the lot where your buses will park as well. Moving into a little closer in section or venue. So we have 8 courts available. Let me shrink that just a bit. So 8 courts available here. We'll have that as we've had, and again, most of this is exactly the same for those of you who've been there before. I realize not all of you have, but there's a large tent here that we'll be using for shade, as well as in case of other inclement weather. Also, lunch will be distributed here. It's typically distributed right at this end of the tent, but there'll be tables and chairs available inside there. That said, we do encourage you, if you wish to bring some pop-up tents and such. There is some limited space around here by the courts themselves. It's your choice with that. We will have portable restrooms here available. We'll have the team check-in or our control center right abouts here. That's where you'll check in for your team in the morning and let us know of any scratches or no-shows that you have for that day. This is also the general area where your doubles pairs will check in throughout the day. There's a small staging area there, and we'll talk through that process in just a few minutes here. There's some there'll be general seating here. There's some picnic tables here where C is and such. And then D is where we'll have ceremonies for the opening ceremony as well as awards. We are cutting back and are only going with one award stand because for the couple years that we've been here at Loyola, we have yet to use that second award stand. Just takes up space and takes up money, quite frankly, but it's more a matter of space, and it's a waste since we have not used it. And but we'll still be moving along pretty quickly with the awards process there. Let's see. This star here is where your buses will drop off your teams, and then they'll just walk up. It's a very short walk up here to where you're checking in. Let's see. And also, if you do have questions, at the end of the session, we'll go through each of the districts and answer your questions as best we can. So your credentialed coaches will have limited access to the competition areas. And again, one of the things that we'll be sending out to you, we need to verify that we know who you will be planning to have come with you. I will be sending directly to each of the coaches, and we'll copy the district rep with the list of who, as of now, we believe will be attending, and we'll need you to get back to us relatively quickly for that. For coaches, we know who the head coach is in each case. We don't necessarily know who the additional personnel are off of the forms, or sometimes there's multiple teams from the same school and don't know for sure that all of them are coming. And we'll need to make sure that we have all of the necessary paperwork and clearances taken care of for them. And again, if there is anybody who needs additional assistance or an accommodation, we'll make an adjustment for that. We do need to know that ahead of time. In fairness to everyone, we do need to have you let us know about that ahead of time, as noted earlier in the guide. There is seating available again under the tent in terms of when you're not competing. Let me go right back up here. These little things here, these are benches. I think they're 3-tier or 4-tier benches in front of each court. So there is an opportunity to sit there. Given that we'll be using the next available court model of getting the teams out there, you won't know where your team is. What we do ask is please don't camp out at a court and prevent other folks from coming to watch while they're playing there. Certainly, if you have another game there, you can certainly stay there, or a game with another one of your players there, you can certainly stay there. But please do be courteous and supportive of everybody who's with us. Loyola University and all Special Olympics activities are tobacco and alcohol free, and that applies to any form of smoking, including vaping or e-cigarettes products and anything along those lines. So they are not permitted anywhere on the campus grounds. Mentioned before about medical personnel being there. Please do send any needs that you have to Angela Netto and your respective chairperson here. We've got Katie and Mark listed there. Opening ceremony will start promptly at 11:30. We're looking to keep that as a nice kickoff for the day. We will keep it relatively brief. We are looking for additional athletes and partner pairs, as well as coaches, to be part of opening ceremony. For the athlete partner pairs, we're looking at someone or a pair to do the oath, the competitor's oath or the Olympics athlete's oath, as well as to carry the torch. And we are looking for a coach to recite or lead the coaches in reciting the coach's oath. There's a link here for you to nominate someone. We will need that in by the end of this week. Award ceremonies, we're saying, though, again, they'll start approximately at 4:30. We will actually start those awards as soon as we can do so, where a team's place has been determined and we can do the presentation without disturbing or adversely affecting the games that are going on or the matches that are going on the courts that are near to where the awards are being presented. So if we can do that, and we're not disturbing folks, or if we're at a point where those courts are dark, we may be able to get ceremony started a little bit earlier. We're not trying to rush, but I'm sure many of you have a bit of distance to travel to get back home, and we want to move things along as we can. Lunches, again, we'll provide lunches for each. If there is a lunch, I would put that into an accommodation, and we'll put this in the note that goes out with the slides and such. If you do have a special lunch need, and this is a medical necessity, not a preference, please do include that in your note to Angela, so that we can be prepared for that. We also will have, or do have right now, an evaluation form available for the event. We absolutely read everything and take the evaluation seriously, looking for feedback and ways that we can improve the event. We certainly do hope that you'll share that. We'll also send for everybody who's at the event for whom we have an email address, we'll send them an invitation directly to complete it as well. And again, we hope you'll encourage your competitors and your fellow coaches and anybody else who you bring with you to use that tool to give feedback. We already touched on the weather. In the event that we do need to do any kind of a delay, at the latest, we'll make that decision by 6:30 in the morning on Tuesday, November 5th. Realistically, if it's possible, excuse me, we'll make it the day before. Can't promise that. Right now, things are looking great. and so we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. If we do need to go to that postponement with only 15 teams, and actually 3 of those teams are from the same school in Anne Arundel County, we can probably at least text everybody to the mobile phone that we have and get that out to you. But we'll also have it sent out by Twitter, on Facebook, as well as a scroll on our main website. We will have souvenirs available, cash or credit card, and actually we don't have the sampling below. Delete that. Not 100% sure exactly which pieces that we'll have there. Here's some just dining guides. I know some of you may want to take your folks to lunch, or I'm sorry, to dinner on the way home. These are some options that are available there. Again, use them if you see you need to. So that's that section of the event guide. Again, just cruising through. And so logistics, again, I mentioned that you'll get a listing of everyone that we have and what their status is. Everyone who is traveling who aren't competitors on your team needs to be credentialed. And again, we'll let you know the status of all that if there's any that are missing. We need to get that taken care of by the 31st. If there's a special situation, I'll work with you directly on that to make things as functional as we can. So with the competition, and here again, I'll offer up that Mark or Katie, if you need to, or if you wish to jump in, or if I stumble on something, please do let us know. Again, the purpose here is not to go over all the rules of tennis, but to let you know that this will be run essentially the same way that your district tournaments have been run. So we'll get to the guide in just a moment. So with staging, that's where the athletes are going to check in and then be taken out to the court. The first 8 games, or actually probably the first 7 games in skills, because the skills will be on a designated court to start off. But the first 7 games will be pre-assigned. After that, whatever match is the next in line to take place will go to the next open court. And so in sequence, so as I mentioned before, you don't really know where your court will be. Your competitors, when they're called, will need to come there with their rackets ready to play. They may walk up to that table and leave immediately with the scorekeeper or the escort to take them to their court. They may come up and they may be waiting for a few moments, depending upon how quickly the courts open up. But they do need to come up there. They cannot, well, they won't know which court to go to, first of all, but they do need to come in to check in. If they miss that second call, as is noted in the last bullet, it'll be a forfeit for their match, and the other team will be 4-4. That said, and again, we'll do the announcements, but we also know that folks may be far away and may not hear it. I would definitely keep someone from your team close by to where the announcements are being made. They will be using a PA system, of course, but keep them close. But also, you'll know the sequence of the order. We'll provide that to you, and so you should have a sense of when folks are, or the next matches are coming up as you go through. So let's see. Again, we mentioned about accommodations. Please send that note to Angela and copy Katie and Mark as well for that. Also, when you check in at that morning, please do just confirm any accommodations have been noted that you called about. Again, that is not a time to put in for new accommodations. Let's see. Protests, if you believe a rule was applied improperly or something along those lines, you need to file that protest within 15 minutes of the match being completed. If something is time sensitive, as is noted there, you can notify one of the folks who will have some rules marshals or some tennis experts out there. Jeff Abel, many of you know from our office, is definitely a tennis expert, and we'll have some other folks out there as well. Please do not stand there yelling at the scorekeeper. That's unprofessional and inappropriate. You all know that. But get the attention of one of the folks who is out there. We probably won't have a person for every court, but we are expecting to have somebody for every 2 courts, and they can address the issue hopefully right then and there. Keep in mind, judgment calls are not protestable, and it's really whether they are identifying a rule that was applied, or a rule was applied incorrectly, or so on down the line. We do have a rules committee. We are looking for a couple additional coaches and a student athlete to join us for that. If you have a nominee, please do send some information to us, and we'll put a note of that in the email that'll go out with these slides at that time. We're thrilled to have Jason Kamler back again with us. Thanks to Barb Costner from Washington County for recruiting him again for us. Mark, and then Barb or Christine will be on there. The or is if one of their own players is involved, or a player from their county is involved, they would recuse themselves in that situation. And then same thing with the other coaches and such. Remember, shorts seems to be the one area that we have the greater challenge. Shorts need to be solid color. All of the ones that you see there are unacceptable, and including the ones down here, as trendy as the Maryland flag shorts are, you can't wear them. This should have been taken care of throughout your district competitions. The rule has not changed. That said, also, given how cool it is expected, athletic pants are permitted. So sweatpants, that type of thing, would be permitted as well. So the team divisions, excuse me, looking at one more piece of information, and then we'll have the divisions themselves worked out. We are, so we may have those, I say here in the next 48 hours, we may have them taken care of this evening even. We're not going to hold up sending them out to you, but we'll let you know. Now, these are the divisions, what schools or what school teams are competing against each other. The actual match schedules will be available, we're saying by Monday. Certainly if they're available sooner, we'll send them as well. The match schedule shouldn't make all that much of a difference at this stage for folks, because you're still going to arrive in time for opening ceremony, and you still need to plan to be there until the event is over, with awards starting, we're saying at 4:30, maybe earlier, but you should plan to be there going until the end of awards. We're dividing or making up the divisions based on the composition of the school teams, so that I mean, any competition that they're going to have, any matches that they're going to have, need to be between, say, a team that plays with the red ball in their division playing against another team within their division with the red ball, and so on. And so looking at who they have and different ones, we have some teams that only have red and orange level players. We have some that only have orange and green, and we have some that have all three plus skills, so on down the line. So we've got that almost completely worked out, and we'll look forward to sending that to you as soon as we get that last bit of information and can get that taken care of for you. Let's see. So actually, before we go through that, let's go back to the event guide. Where are you? There you are. Again, we highlighted everything. And again, the event guide, you'll get this coming out or being sent out to you with the slides and such. The official rules that you've been using all year or all season are still in place. This just describes the uniforming a little bit more. That's there. Let's see. Again, no jewelry. Have to wear athletic sneakers. Some notation on headgear and such. I would hope at this stage that that's not really any challenge that anybody has. So we mentioned about team check-in at that control center. You'll need to let us know at that point if you have any scratches as well, so that if we do need to make any kind of a change with the schedule, we have a little bit of time to do so. Even if things are a forfeit and the one team from the other school gets the points for their team, they still want to play, and we want to be able to accommodate that as best we can. We'll open up, so we've got a little discrepancy on the time for warm-ups. We'll open them up as soon as possible. That one place said 9:30, but if we can get it by 9, we will. What we need you to do is come to court 2 or court 6. We'll have someone there to schedule a time for you to warm up on your courts. Let's see, depending upon the size of your roster for doubles teams or doubles pairs, will determine how many courts you have. Please, there's a limited amount of time available for warm-ups for the 15 different teams that we'll have excuse me, present. Please do work with your fellow coaches to make sure that everybody who wishes to do a warm-up can do so. Warm-ups will end at 10:45, so we can get everybody in and ready for opening ceremony, which will start again promptly at 11. For warm-ups, you are responsible for providing your own tennis balls for that during that warm-up period. Of course, we will provide the balls for the actual competition. Let's see. And then before each match, there's a short 5 minutes before the first round of everybody going through the first times on the courts, and then 2 minutes afterwards. Let's see, again, scratches will be there. If you have a scratch and the other member of that pair is in attendance, so you have an athlete and a unified partner together, and the unified partner scratches, if the athlete still attended, he or she can be paired with a substitute player, however, to play their match at the time that's scheduled. However, it's going to be considered at that point an exhibition, and the other team that they're playing against will receive the credit. They'll get the point excuse me, for their team going forward, as if it's essentially a forfeit. But if that player, that athlete, still does want to have the opportunity to play, we certainly want to accommodate as best we can. And of course, that would apply if it was the athlete who scratched, or the individual with a disability who scratched and the unified partner is there. We would do the same thing, but again, it's considered an exhibition match. There's more on staging. We've kind of talked through that already. And again, just have them there when they're paged. Your roster is going to be the same that you sent in. One of the things I'll be sending out to you when checking the stuff is these are the people that are on your roster, and just making sure we're all on the same page as far as that goes. Team scoring is, and the roster again is the folks who competed at your district tournament as a member of those teams. Again, team scoring, they'll earn 1 point. Individual skills in the 2 divisions where, assuming the divisions kind of flesh out the way they look like they will, there'll be 1 point awarded for individual skills in each division, excuse me, based on the player who wins that individual skills competition. Time limits, not sure. I think it's not specified here. I don't know, Mark or Katie, do you know what the time limit is offhand? And you would need to unmute your line.
It's Katie. So I know at the district level it was 30 minutes, but I believe it's still the same at states. Mark, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Great. That's what I thought it was, but I didn't want to say it and potentially be wrong. Great. So if there is a tie, the tie within a match is all covered in the rules of how to go through that in the, I think it's a 10-point game and so on. We're not going to go into that. here. It's noted there as well. But the tiebreak for the team, so at the end of the day, if two teams have the same number of points earned for their team, the first tiebreak will be the fewest number of sets lost. Then, if it's still tied at that point, it'll be the number of games won in all their matches, and then the number of games lost. It's the couple times we've had ties, I've handled that sometimes in the past. I don't think we've had to go past that first level much at all. Reminder again that if your players are playing a match that's an exhibition, and there's two different ways that exhibition could happen, or it could be an exhibition. In some cases, we're guaranteeing every athlete or every team, doubles team or pair, that you'll get one point scoring opportunity, a minimum of 1 point scoring opportunity for your team. It is possible that that team may need to play an additional game so that we have athletes who need a match to play against, or it could be that, and so it may or may not be that additional game, may or may not be point scoring for that team, because not every roster has the same number of players on it. So the if it is an exhibition though, and it'll be noted on the schedule, if it is an exhibition, please make sure that your doubles team goes out and still plays their hardest. It can impact, while they may not be able to earn a point for their team, they could prevent another team from earning that point. It's not an automatic. If your team is an exhibition and the other team is eligible for points, it doesn't mean they get that point. If they lose that game, your team has helped, or your doubles pair has helped your team, because they've eliminated that opportunity for that other team to earn a point. So it is still important. It is still very meaningful for their involvement in that game. Talked about protests. Let's see. Just reminders on keeping the courts clear. Again, most of this is just standard courtesy. Again, we'll have your credentials that are there. Please remind your fans, spectators, family members who may be there with the competitors to be respectful. That includes not only not shouting at them, but if there is any talking, to keep it at a low level. It can be very distracting. That's one of the reasons why we're going to be very judicious about potentially starting awards a little early. The last thing we want to have happen is to have that adversely impact any games that are on any nearby courts. So if that's not possible, we'll wait until all the competition is done to do that. Let's see. Again, most of that's all common sense, no abusive behavior, etc. And then I haven't seen this being an issue at any of the competitions this season, but the principle of meaningful involvement, where every player has the opportunity to meaningfully contribute to their team. Give some specific examples of within tennis. If and this could apply in either direction, either the unified partner who does not have a disability, or the athlete or unified partner 504 IEP who has a disability, either one could be taking the meaningful involvement away from the other member of their doubles pair. So simple things like both players sharing the front and back formation, not having a single the same player at the net all the time. If they're side by side, in essence, not stepping in front or stealing the play away from the partner, and so on. And again, I'm very pleased, and I'm sure you are as well, with all your coaches, that this does not seem to be happening much at all. So we're thrilled with that. If there is any kind of an issue with this, and again, our folks will be watching for that, to protect the players that are there. The first offense will be a warning. After that, you'll lose a point in the current game, and then if it happens a third time, that team will lose or forfeit the match. But again, hopefully that will not be an issue there. And let's go back here and, excuse me, see if we can wrap up. Some of these things we've already talked to. So for awards, be listening for announcements. When it comes time to present the awards, we'll need your entire team together to come up, and as a unit, we'll actually, generally speaking, try to pre-stage 1 or 2 awards or teams to go, depending in an area ready to go up on the award stand to receive their recognition. Please do be sure that your players haven't changed out and gotten into their street clothes. They should still be in their proper uniform and such. Obviously, if there's some issue that happened, let us know. They still should be in their proper footwear and so on down the line. It's a dignified, important event, and we want to be sure that it gets the proper recognition for that. If you do have any day of volunteers, anybody coming with you to be assistants to assist with running the event, running the tournament, please have them contact or for you to contact Sam Boyd, who is our new director of volunteers, and she can help you with that. Your student athletes, as much as they may wish to, cannot also serve as a volunteer. Their role there is as a competitor. If you're running late, if there's some issue here, traffic is abnormally bad, please do factor in the fact that you may be traveling during rush hour traffic. But if something unusual has occurred, please do text Angela. There's her cell number to advise her what time you plan to be there. If that is the case, one thing that would be exceedingly helpful is to know who, if any, from your team is not present. We can get ahead of, if you're arriving a little bit late, we could potentially take care of any of those scratches or any of those changes before you even arrive. Also, as noted, when you get off the bus, be sure to get your driver's cell phone number so that you can call them. Again, we certainly hope we're not going to rush things. It's not about how quickly we can get out of there, but we also don't want to, waste time. So if we're ahead of schedule, you may need to reach out to that bus driver to bring the bus down a little earlier than maybe they had planned. We do expect to have a concession stand, and also souvenirs will be for sale available there as well. And contact information for your district reps or the person to contact there by county. And with that said, what I'll ask is, so rather than going through this, I know that Melissa Kelly, when she's hosted these, she's read off folks' names. If you're on, again, unfortunately, if you're on the phone only and you're not on the web, we can't open up your phone line to ask a question. But we will have you, if you go to your control panel for the webinar, you can raise your hand and we can open up that line. Before we do that, I did want to open up and give Mark or Katie, I know I went through this pretty rapid fire, but is there anything that I didn't touch on or any particular point that you want to emphasize for folks before we open up the lines for questions?
Sure. So hi, everyone. It's Katie. Just wanted to share with you something that we are going to try out this season, well, at States. So this past district tournament season, I kind of went to a few of the different tournaments and realized that it was very hard to know whose score was where on the different courts. So with Angela's help, we have actually ordered, and I believe they came in today, scorecards like you would see with the actual varsity tennis teams, so that the scorekeeper can also be flipping the scores so we can see how people are, or how teams are doing on the different courts. So this would also alleviate some of the parents' concerns on how their teams are doing. Also, if you are a coach going by to go to a different team, you can kind of look from different angles to see how all of your teams are doing.
Great. Yeah, and yes, all 8 of those have arrived. So great. Mark, anything or any particular point you want to make or anything to add?
No, everything was good.
Okay, great. So with that in mind, again, if you have a question or a comment, just go to the control panel and you'll see a little thing there that you can raise your hand. Just click on that and we'll see it, and we will try to open up your phone line and let you ask your question. Alternatively, if you don't wish to speak, that's okay. You can type your question into the question box as well, and we'll see that, and we'll read it out for you and do our best to answer it. So I don't see any hands. Okay. Oh, so Greta typed in a question. Let's see.
Can we post our emails again? Absolutely, Greta.
Yep, there you go. And you certainly can write them down feverishly, but again, you'll be getting this slide deck potentially this evening, but definitely by tomorrow morning. So cool. Well, that's an easy one. Anyone else?
Well, Mike, I'm not sure if she was looking. Greta, please correct me if I'm wrong, but were you looking for our 3 emails or everybody's email?
Oh, she's asking for Mike's. So you're right. My email is not on here. We will add it. How's that? But my email, let me click to that. I know it's on one of these slides here. And let's see, somewhere, keep going. There we go. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, just want to say again, thank you again for your patience and support as we've gone through some changeover in leadership and had the temporary absence of Melissa Kelly, who's been just a stalwart, incredible leader for this endeavor. Thrilled to have her back in a couple weeks. But thank you again for your patience and understanding as we've gone through and have this season together. If you do have any questions, again, reach out. You can respond to the email that'll come out shortly. And I think I speak for all of us when we say we're really looking forward to seeing you in a little over a week. Katie, Mark, or Angela, any last words?
No, I'm just very excited to meet everyone. I know sending emails is a little I don't know. It's very hard when you don't see face to face. So I'm looking forward to meeting everyone, and I'm wishing everyone a lot of success in the upcoming tournament.
Okay. So Mark or Angela, before we sign off? Nope. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And again, we look forward to seeing you in a week, and thrilled to see your athletes, your competitors join us for what's going to be a fantastic day of tennis. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your evening.